45 drivers, 16 nationalities, 3 champions, 1 new champ. Road to Indy TV.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway is known as the world's greatest race course, and the drivers and teams of the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires took to the facility's challenging 14-turn, 2.349-mile road course on the May 9, 10, 11 weekend. Andretti Autosport's Robert Mcguinness delivered a breakout performance in the opening Indy Lights race on Friday afternoon, taking the lead from his pole position at the green flag. The New York driver's teammate Oliver Askew made his bid for the lead with a successful pass in turn 1 early in the 30-lap contest, but Mcguinness came right back and retook the top spot with an identical move 2 laps later. Mcguinness went on to win unchallenged over Askew, while Juncos Racing's Rinus VeeKay completed the podium in 3rd. For the second race, VeeKay turned things up by qualifying on the pole. The Dutch driver capitalized fully on his starting position, quickly jumping away to lead ahead of the opening quarter chaos, which dropped Ryan Norman to the tail of the field. VeeKay ran away with the race, stretching out a gap over Dallara Auto Racing's Zachary Clayman, who slipped through into second during the lap 1 skirmish. Askew and Mcguinness ended up fighting for the final position on the podium, and in the end, Askew scored the spot. With his race 2 win, VeeKay took over the point lead heading into the Freedom 100 on Carb Day. The Indy Pro 2000 weekend was all Juncos Racing's Rasmus Lindt. The Swedish rookie dominated the action to score 2 poles and 2 wins, taking over the championship point lead in the process. In the opening race, RP Motorsports' Kyle Kirkwood was penalized for jumping the start, and he was put to the tail of the field. While Lindt pulled out to a solid lead, Kirkwood fought his way back through the field, eventually advancing back to second. Exclusive Autosports' Daniel Frost was impressive all weekend, and he took his 2nd podium finish of the year. Lindt was equally as strong in the second race, leading his teammate Stingray Robb to a dominant Juncos Racing 1-2. In the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, Cape Motorsports' Braden Eves dominated his 2nd straight weekend, scoring his 3rd and 4th wins of the year to take a commanding lead in the point standings. Pabst Racing's Hunter McElroy pushed Eves throughout the race to finish 2nd, while Manuel Suleiman of D-Force Racing finished 3rd. In race number 2, Eves was challenged from the start to finish by his teammate Darren Keene through 3 restarts, while McElroy was also in the fight. When the dust had settled, Eves and Keene delivered a 1-2 finish for Cape Motorsports. The Road to Indy drivers will be back in action at Indianapolis at the end of the month. The Indy Lights drivers will be in the spotlight on Carb Day for their biggest race of the year, the Freedom 100. And the USF 2000 and Indy Pro competitors will head to the 5/8-mile Lucas Oil Raceway for the Carb Night Classic on Friday evening.
Hi, I'm Robert Mcguinness. I'm from New York, and I'm the driver of the number 27 Andretti Autosports Cybersecurity Indy Lights car. I mean, stuff I do for fun at home. I am a saber fencer. I spend some of my free time fencing, sword fighting. Kind of came about when I was a little kid and I was interested in Star Wars. Just thought it was super cool and wanted to do a sport. Along with that, all the other normal driver stuff, trying to eat healthy, and a big part of me is I'm going to try and go to university. I'm going to go to Fordham University next year. Right now I'm taking a gap year, but we're going to see if we can make that work and try and fit in a racing schedule with the school schedule and see what we can do. This year I signed with Andretti Autosport and Indy Lights, and that's a huge commitment. It's a big time commitment, and I feel like I have to prove to myself, okay, I can do this, I can be an IndyCar driver, and I feel like I'm doing that. I feel like I need to take a break from schooling and see what I can do with my racing, get everything in order before I start to try and take that on, because that's a big time commitment, a big commitment for me, and you know, I'm gonna have a lot of stuff going on in my brain. With racing, I always loved Toronto. It's a great place, super fun city and a super fun atmosphere. Another place I really loved traveling to racing was Abu Dhabi, where I raced at Laguna Seca last year. That was so much fun. The city was amazing. The track was amazing. Favorite vacation spot? I love these huge cities. I live in New York City, so it's, you know, what I know. But I think it's time to go and hang out on a beach or something, or in a house near a lake. I need some time to relax. It's been pretty non-stop. I've been at racetracks every weekend since March. So that's going to be the go-to. Follow me this year on the Road to Indy and on social media at Robert Mcguinness on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Racing, like most other sports, is all about momentum. The Big Mo was a key story across all 3 series of the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires action as the month of May got underway on the IMS road course. In USF 2000, Braden Eves was able to build on the wave of momentum that began with a pair of wins on the streets of St. Petersburg. The Cape Motorsports rookie won both races, collecting 65 of 66 possible points and increasing his lead over Pabst Racing rookie Hunter McElroy to 33 points. In Indy Pro 2000, the momentum shifted from a 21-year-old veteran to a 17-year-old rookie. After an almost perfect weekend to start the season, Parker Thompson and Able Motorsports struggled with pace all weekend. Conversely, Juncos Racing youngster Rasmus Lind found his mojo. The only thing missing from the Swedish driver's racing CV was a Road to Indy win. Mission accomplished, with the bonus of a championship lead. The momentum shift in Indy Lights was far more nuanced. It wasn't so much that Oliver Askew lost momentum, but more a case of a trio of competitors building steam. Renus VK won his 2nd race of the season and grabbed the points lead by 1. But more importantly, Juncos Racing found some of the pace they had been missing earlier in the season. Robert Mcguinness was the 2nd best Andretti Autosport driver at Circuit of the Americas, but this weekend at the Brickyard, he served notice to the field that he will be a contender for the Advancement Scholarship going forward.
Hi, my name is Daniel Frost. I'm from Singapore. I drive for Team Exclusive Autosport in the number 68. I grew up in Singapore for my whole life, and actually I just moved to the States and I live in Miami now. And yeah, for the whole time I've been living in Singapore with my mom and my dad, and we've had a pretty good time, but now we've decided to make a change and we've moved on and we're now here in the States. Yeah, I'm actually very into fashion, cars. Fitness is also a big thing for me. Like I like to stay healthy. It's good for me and it benefits me very well. Yeah, the coolest place I've been to is probably Dubai, Abu Dhabi. I'd say Italy, Denmark. There's a lot of them. I can't just name one. I've been to a couple of tracks last year, and I really like Toronto and Ohio, but the one that I'm really looking forward to is actually Laguna Seca. Like that's a new track on the calendar, and I've actually never been there. And while I was doing some simming, I actually enjoyed that circuit a lot. So there's some iconic corners, and yeah, I really want to go there and have a feel for myself. You can follow me on Road to Indy this year on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Daniel_Frost.
Hi guys, we're here at the Dallara factory in Speedway, Indiana. This is the only facility of its kind in the United States. This is where Dallara Group takes the race cars that they build in Italy, ships them over here, and they assemble them for the IndyCar and Indy Lights teams that are going to be racing them this weekend at IMS. We're going to head back to the assembly area and see where they actually put the cars together. We might even get a sneak peek at the Dallara simulator. Let's go. All right, we're back in the assembly area at the Dallara factory in Speedway, Indiana. I've got Dominic here, he's a design engineer with Dallara Group, and he's gonna run us through the Indy Lights chassis and the IndyCar back there.
So this is Dallara IL-15 chassis that Dalton drives every weekend. It has a 4-cylinder turbo engine from AER. It makes about 450 horsepower. On the push to pass, it makes 50 additional horsepower. It weighs about 1,400 pounds. And at the Indianapolis road course, they were doing about a 1:16 lap time.
Can you run us through some specific safety items that you guys have built into this car to make it safer for us on track when we're battling and bumping around?
Yep, so on each corner of the car, there are 3 of these nylon tethers designed to keep the wheels in proximity of the car should there be an impact. So if you brush a wall and you sever all of these suspension components, the tire will flail around a bit, but will not get separated from the car, won't go into the crowds, and won't come and hit you either. Right. Another safety feature that we have in this car for you guys are these structural side pods. So the back half of the side pod is very hollow and very thin. The front half we call the structural side pod inlet. It's very thick, has a lot of carbon fiber, and also has some of this honeycomb material into it to aid in energy absorption. So if you get into an impact or somebody hits you in the side, that will crush quite a bit before you're in any danger.
Okay, so basically this whole side of the car is meant to crumple. It's like a crumple zone for a road car?
Exactly, just like on your road car, in an impact, it's designed to crush and absorb energy.
Let's talk more about the way these cars are actually built. So we've got a couple new Indy cars here.
Exactly.
IndyCar chassis, at least. So you were telling me earlier that it takes almost 2 to 3 weeks to build what we see here.
Exactly.
Is that about right?
So the way these start out, there's 2 halves of a mold. All of these are laid up by hand. They'll take these molds, they'll lay in sheets of carbon fiber. They'll do an initial cure on that, and then they will start adding more carbon fiber and more of that honeycomb into it. And like we said, it's about a 2 to 3 week period. And when these are finished, they only weigh about 200 pounds.
Well, why don't we walk over? We've got the first Indy car, or the first DW18 that you guys built.
This is the first DW12 chassis. Now this has gone through a lot of iterations. This was the prototype car that Dan Weldon drove back in 2011.
So what can you tell me with this car that might be different than the Lights car? Some added features, things that make it go 40 miles an hour faster at the speedway?
So the general layout's exactly the same. You have a monocoque followed by an engine and a transaxle. The wheelbase is a bit different. There's also the much bigger engine. So they have the Honda and Chevrolet Turbo V6s. That's going to make a lot of your difference. Yeah. Now, as far as safety features, we have the same sort of tethers, we have the same sort of structural side pods, and front and rear crash structure.
Well, Dominic, thank you for this behind-the-scenes look at everything you guys do here at the Speedway Factory. It's been really informative, and hope to see you out at the track pretty soon.
It was great to meet you. Thanks for coming to Dallara.
Thanks.
I'm Christian Rasmussen. I live in Copenhagen, Denmark. I drive the number 6 car for J. Howard Driver Development. So I live in Denmark. I'm based out of a small city called Dallara, just outside Copenhagen. I'm actually right beside the Copenhagen airport. Back home everything is just tiny. The roads are tiny, the cars are tiny, even like the parking spots are tiny. Then you come over here, everything is just huge. You see huge cars going around, big Chevys, big Fords, whatever. Honestly, the most of the time when I'm back home is going to school. I spend a lot of time racing, a lot of time traveling, being in the United States. So that takes a lot of time when I'm off school. So when I'm back home, I have to catch up with all the things I've missed. I also enjoy in the summer back in Denmark. We get quite good weather, even though you wouldn't think it. So I enjoy going to the beach with my friends. I have my little car, so we take my car out to the beach, jump in the water, just having a good time there. There's 2 tracks that sticks out the most for me. I really enjoyed St. Pete, so I'm looking a lot forward to Toronto as well, because it's a street race and I have never been to Canada as well, so that'll be fun. And definitely also Laguna Seca. Follow me on the road to Indy. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you want to send me a mail, I'll email you back. You can do whatever, it's all there.
Is everybody ready for some oval action from Indianapolis? Here's your next weekend preview. Just like their big brothers, the NTT IndyCar Series, the next time you see the Road to Indy ladder will be on an oval. To prepare, USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000 will test on the Lucas Oil Raceway short oval next week. The Indy Lights drivers will have their first chance to test on the historic 2.5-mile oval alongside IndyCar on the Monday after qualifying for the Indianapolis 500. There are 50% more points awarded at the Road to Indy Oval events, making preparation for the Memorial Day weekend races that much more crucial.